all these complicated workouts, all these different exercises. No one was freaking hitting PRs. So I was just like, no, we got to hit PRs. We got to eat freaking steak, potatoes, and chocolate. And we got to look like a movie star.
This is Gallagher, a successful fitness coach and content creator.
Optimize it. Yeah. Why be at 600 when I can be at 800, right? Also, life is fun when you have a high libido. It's fun. If you have a desire to have sex every day, that's fun. If you only have a desire to have sex once a week, it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
So it's like to max out your testosterone naturally. A lot of these microplastics, a lot of these hormone disruptors are unavoidable. It's kind of sad, right? So it's like we need to give ourselves the absolute best lift off. I want to feel like how I was meant to feel. I don't want to have to settle. And so optimizing your testosterone is really good.
What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited for the guest today. He's an OG in the fitness space, founder of Kino Body, and YouTuber, Gallagher.
What's going on, man? I'm pumped to be here.
What's up, man? Yeah, this is pretty surreal. We were talking before this, and I've actually been watching you for probably about 10 years now.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
since you've been doing it longer for that, though, right?
Yeah, I started my first YouTube channel. I was like 14 years old, and then I kind of shut it down, and then I restarted in like 2010, 2011. So it's been a hot minute.
Okay. So has it always been fitness content, like when you first started?
Yes, yeah. At first, I was sort of just showing my fitness journey, and then I started kind of teaching fitness stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
How's Miami, man? I know you're from Toronto. I used to watch your videos with, I know you still got a house there, but with Bob and all those videos. So how's that transition been? And, are you splitting your time up, or how does that work?
I'm doing about, right now, half the time, half Miami, half Toronto. But, it's going to be weighing more and more to Miami.
Okay.
So no, I do. I love it here, especially this time of year. It's epic. It's a great lifestyle.
How's the weather in Toronto? I've never been to Canada.
It's like it's similar to Chicago. It's a little bit colder than New York City. It's a brutal, like December till March is like, it's a long, brutal winter, even November. So it's a harsh winter. It's not where you don't want to be doing like, your whole life through the Canadian winter. It's not ideal. I paid my winter dues,
How's the fitness space there?
Toronto has probably one of the strongest fitness scenes in the world.
Really?
There's a huge amount of fitness YouTubers that percolated up to the top of the space that are from Toronto. It's a crazy thing.
Okay.
So yeah, Toronto's big. You got like the Will Tenney, and I think Jeff Nippert is in Toronto now.
I thought he
and
was.
There's been a lot of fitness people that kind of had an origin in Toronto.
Okay, gotcha. So you grew up there, right?
Yeah.
How was your childhood coming up and all there?
It's great. Yeah, no, it's good. Good. I had a big family, played a lot of sports, a lot of brothers.
Yeah. What sports did you like?
I did hockey. I started off with hockey, so I played a lot of hockey, which is, if you haven't played hockey, it is so fun.
Yeah. You never played hockey?
Yeah, it's different than a lot of the sports. Like the feeling you get when you put the puck in the net, it's like you couldn't imagine. Like, it just feels incredible.
Yeah.
So hockey is, and plus when you're on skates, you're just, it's a different experience than running. But I did a lot of hockey, and then I pretty much around the time I was 14, playing hockey. Like it's so much effort for your parents to bring you to practice, bring you to games. It is like nonstop. So it didn't really fit at a certain point. And then I kind of got more into boxing and martial arts, jiu-jitsu and stuff like that.
Okay. So have you always loved fitness, or where was that transitional point?
I mean, I enjoyed sports, and sports are definitely more fun than working out, but I fell in love more so. Like, I had a much deeper passion in working out, which was surprising to a lot of people at the time.
I'm the same way, man. So I played baseball and football. They definitely don't have hockey in South Georgia, but I did baseball and football, and did it, throughout high school. But I really fell in love with the weight room, and I did the sports, really didn't enjoy them. I kind of just did them. But yeah, I definitely enjoy just working out and the training part of it way more.
No, absolutely. I like sports can be a lot of fun, right? To play sports, but like working out, it's got a clear goal. You're increasing the weight, you're building muscle, you're improving your look. You know, you can work out pretty much any time. You don't have to like, you can go to the gym when it fits your schedule.
Yeah.
Sports are kind of, a certain point, unless you're going to play professional, sports is just a leisure.
Yeah. So did you kind of become obsessed with working out? Because I know for me, that's when I became obsessed I started training in about 7th grade, but I just became obsessed with it in high school, and that's pretty much all I did.
Yeah, no, I think when I was 14, I started reading tons of different books on strength training, body weight training, weight training, powerlifting, and I worked out a lot, but I was always reading about it and always tracking my workouts and trying to get a little bit stronger. And I played around with lots of different stuff. Even in my teenage years, I was playing around, testing with isometric lifting and random stuff, plyometrics. And, I think over the course of several years, I kind of just simplified and got into honed into what I felt worked the best.
Yeah. And your training style is a little different, I think, and you definitely stand out in the fitness industry, I feel like. Where did you kind of find your niche with your lifting style?
I mean, I just kind of peeled back the layers and what must I do to achieve the goal I have? If I want to build bigger shoulders, what do I need to accomplish? And really, I tested doing lots of exercises, lots of sets and reps, lots of volume, tested doing less. And the common denominator, the only thing that genuinely mattered was increasing the weight, achieving progressive overload. And so I just kind of realized, all right, if I want to build bigger shoulders, and I'm doing 80-pound dumbbells or say 60-pound dumbbells for 8, I got to get stronger. If I plateau, I'm going to pick a different movement and build strength on that. But for me, it was all about getting stronger. And the more I trained, the worse I looked. The less I trained, the lower volume, I would hit personal records. I would get stronger. And so a lot of my training goes against the grain. And if you follow a lot of fitness people, you look at the workouts, you're like, holy, like they're training a lot. They're doing these very long, high volume sessions in the gym all the time. But there is a lot of these guys are also using anabolic steroids. Okay. And if you go back to the training routines of men before the steroid era in the 20s and 30s, I think steroids became sort of entered the scene. I think after the 30s. If you look at the 30s, lifters, they train 3 days a week.
So you really studied this stuff, because I didn't know. I was wondering the same thing when they kind of got introduced to the scene.
Yes, no, I studied it quite a lot. And I also really the ultimate, the most important thing was always what worked for me. So I'm my own guinea pig. If training 5-6 days and doing lots of sets, if that was going to produce the best result, I would have done that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, before the steroid era, men had an inclination to train a lot less. 3 workouts a week, 5 exercises. Sometimes it'd be full body, sometimes it would be like a, upper, lower, but it was a much more minimalist style of training.
Okay. Yeah, I saw you hit 380 on the hammer strength today. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was a heavy lift.
Yeah.
But yeah, very heavy.
So you're training about 3 days a week right now?
I'm doing 3 days. I'm actually sort of doing, if I actually track it exactly, it's about 3 workouts every 8 days.
Okay.
So I'm kind of testing that now, which seems to work best for me. So in an 8-day period, I'll work out my upper body twice, and I'll do 1 leg workout. And usually I would do a 7-day schedule, but I found that for me to really go super intense on my upper body, lift heavy twice, the 8-day schedule worked better for me.
Okay.
So before, I'd either be doing training 3 days a week for a while, for a few months, and then I'd go down to 2 days and then back to 3. So now I'm kind of finding that groove is the 3 workouts every 8 days, which is not convenient if you want to pluck a workout into a specific day. But yeah, I just give myself an extra day.
What's your favorite thing to train? Because I've watched your videos on build the shoulders. That's what makes you look bigger. And I've always preached out to people as well. So I'm big on shoulder day. That's what I love and thrive. So what's your favorite?
I mean, I like presses, heavy presses, whether that's a incline press, a shoulder press. I really enjoy presses. And then like I do the lateral raises and the rear delts because it is that helpful for building the 3D shoulder look. Do I enjoy doing lateral raises? I don't really love doing them. I do it because it gets the result I want. But I enjoy doing bicep curls way more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually enjoy doing the curls. I mean, when I was a little kid,
Yeah.
when I was like, 12, all I thought you needed was a bicep. Like I thought the muscle was all about just the bicep. If you got the bicep, you're good. And so I remember we had this home gym, and my uncle was showing it to me, and he was like, "Oh, this one, right?" I was 11. He's like, "This one builds the bicep." I'm like, well, that's all I need to know. I'm set. I don't have to worry about the other machines.
Yeah.
So like the biceps are kind of fun, they're fun to train. And, there were some people in like there were some people in the functional kind of fitness community, which was really big back like 10, 15 years ago. They were like, oh, biceps are not functional.
Yeah.
When I did jujitsu, having very strong biceps was helpful.
Right.
When someone is pulling that arm bar and you can catch it in time and you've got really strong biceps, so you can kind of get out of that.
Yeah.
So it can be, strong biceps can really be helpful.
So did you grow up around fitness, or like, was it just you kind of having that desire to start training and,
Yeah,
I
I remember very clearly watching movies with Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Van Damme, having like different action figures. And I just thought strength and power was something I wanted. I wanted to be strong and powerful. That was what I cared about. It was like my highest value. Like I would see guys like Van Damme and just think, I want to freaking be like ripped and strong like that. And my father, before he really was building his real estate empire, he was huge into working out and sports and was very strong. And so
you did not want to go into the real estate route. You knew fitness was your thing.
I didn't really have a passion for real estate, and my father did incredibly well in real estate, but he passed away.
Yeah.
And so I was like, if he was there to really show me the ropes and teach me it, then for sure.
What age was that?
11.
Okay.
But I was like, I have to, like, what am I really going to be the best at? What's my highest value? Where do you spend all your time and energy, right? When I was 13, from the age of 13 till like now, all my time and energy is really looking at fitness.
Yeah.
Reading about health, optimizing my own routine, testing different things. And so it was clear, like, this is where I was. Did I want to read about real estate and different interest rates and where people are buying homes and what's going to happen in the market? And like, it just, to me, like, real estate's like work. Like, it's like work. It feels like work.
Yeah.
No, you got to buy this one. You got to sign all this paperwork. You got to do all. It just seems like work and errands and, even owning a property. Do I want to go and own a house and then have to work? It just, to me, that's work, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't have, but I think real estate can be incredibly powerful. I mean, if you're doing big deals and you're buying huge properties and getting money together, and then
I think the investment side's a lot more important though. Like if you're selling, that's good. That's quick, fast money, but the investment route's definitely.
Investment route is, no, 'cause I mean, like my father built a company and, acquired buildings, and, you position yourself in a way to just make massive amounts of money as opposed to like working for money or even, so it can be very powerful, right?
Right. So you started YouTube at 14, right?
Yeah.
And then, so where did you get your inspiration from? Because you're one of the OGs. Like, there couldn't have been that many YouTubers that you were watching, or was there?
Well, when I was going on YouTube, it wasn't a thing that you'd become a YouTuber and make money. It was kind of like this experiment. Like, there were lots of people that were posting, but it was way fewer posters, a lot more viewers. And so people were kind of figuring out what YouTube was. The video styles were very, very different. All I knew was that I just wanted to share what I was doing. I wanted to share, like, when I love something and I learn something and I'm like I'm freaking pumped about fasting, then I want to share it, right? So, and if my brothers don't care about, there's only so many times like, hey, let's go work out. Hey, you want to do this fast with me? No. So I'm like, okay, we're going to YouTube here.
Yeah.
I wanted to share, and I had a lot of confidence, and I really believed in what I was doing, and I kind of just at a very, very young age, I just identified as like, okay, I'm an authority on this. Like I know enough, and
where do you think that confidence came from? Because I know just people putting themselves on camera can be daunting, and you starting at such a young age, like I feel like that's very that's extraordinary.
I mean, it was a lot easier because I had learned so much about fitness, and I had spent so much time learning about fitness, and I built up thousands and thousands of hours of training, of reading, of implementing, of tweaking, of making something kind of my own. Then it was very easy to speak with confidence. Even if like at certain points I'm like, okay, maybe when I was 16, I didn't understand the full picture and stuff, but it just came easy. It came easy. And a lot of it in the beginning wasn't really like, hey, do this. It was like, hey, let me show you what I'm doing in my own fitness routine, right? So you can't really get criticized for just sharing what you're doing, not telling people, hey, you need to do this. So it came very natural to me.
It felt right.
And even if I had hate comments, it didn't bother me at all. It didn't matter. And I think it's also like there is this far removed thing where it's like, you can be introverted, right? You can be introverted. You can be at home, film a video just with yourself, put it out to the internet, and you're still at home, and it gets it gets this online kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
You get some views, some comments, but it's so far removed from you. It's like this digital event is happening, but you can be like some people that are more introverted. When I was a teenager, if you looked at me, you would think I was introverted, right? And so that worked well for me. And I'm also very dopaminergic, right? So I'm like, I like dopamine. And I remember putting a video out, and like when it starts ripping and getting views and you wake up, and back in the day, YouTube had this weird thing where, if you posted a video in Canada, it would like, if it was tagged in the sports category and it performed well, it could show up in the top 10 Canada sports. So I'd have like, different family friends being like, Greg, I was catching the hockey highlights and your video popped up in sports. So it was kind of like that dopamine kind of thing really like got me motivated,
How long did it take for you to start posting videos until you saw real action on them?
Well, it didn't take that long, to be honest. I was doing a lot of blogging for a couple of years where I'd write these workout blogs. Every week I'd write like multiple blogs, and that was a much slower build. It took months and months and months to really build up the visits and the asset. The YouTube happened pretty fast, pretty quickly.
So is that what you've always done? Like did you do college or anything like that?
I did 1 year of college.
Okay, didn't last long.
No, I was almost, I knew after the first month I wasn't gonna do it, and I didn't really see the value. I did finish the full year though.
What were you studying?
I was studying like a business program.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were just like, this is not me. I did business too, and I felt like I was wasting my time while I was there.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know what you want to do, if you have no clue what you want to do, then sitting at home, not knowing what you want to do, playing Call of Duty is probably not a good idea. It's good to just go and do something. So if you don't know what you want to do and you have the money and the support system and you want to go to college and you want to get that experience, and during that time, you'll figure out more about yourself and you'll be in a better position to make the next step, then go and do that. But if you know absolutely what you want to do and you have a path and you're passionate, you're driven, and you're willing to put in the work, then school will hold you back massively.
Gotcha. So with the YouTube thing, did you know what you were doing, or did it take a while?
I mean, you can meet a lot. If you're young, 20, good looking, fit, college is a great social time.
It is, yeah.
I didn't have that social I really did not have. I had 1 year of that social experience. But I didn't have the full experience. I will say though that like when I was in college, I don't know what it's like now, but it was just massive drinking culture.
Yeah.
It was brutal. Like it was way too much. Kids are drinking 3-4 days a week, binge drinking. It is, and so you have to be careful. Like people think, oh, I'm going to college. I'm spending all this money to go to college. You're surrounding yourself. It's a huge alcohol environment. So you have to be very careful.
Man, a lot of people don't know this, but I did have a great time in college. I did the fraternity thing, but I also was at one of my darkest points in college because I was rushing to fraternity and I injured my shoulder, had surgery, and I lost like 30 pounds, was drinking every night, and was just miserable. So that I got down to like 165. I mean, I was like skin and bones. So the drinking culture is definitely bad in college. And ever since then, I have a few drinks here and there, but that definitely, I got it out of my system while I was in college.
Good. You know what? That's good then.
I saw you drink tequila though, right?
I'll have a couple drinks here and there. I think it's real what they say about like when you turn 30 and so after 30, it's like the hangovers are not fun, man. It's like brutal. Yeah, I don't know how I did it. I used to be able to go out, drink a lot.
So you did drink, you had your
I did a few years, I think around 25, 26, I definitely pushed the envelope on alcohol, for sure. But I remember just being able to drink a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot. And then I wake up and, I probably wouldn't be 100%, but I felt absolutely fine. I was like, oh, let's work. Let's do, sometimes I would have a lot, like in the US, the drinks are so strong here. If you order a shot, it's a massive drink. In Canada, they give you these tiny little 1 ounce shots. You can do 10 shots and it's like doing like 4 in the US. But I remember just going out, doing lots of shots, drinking margaritas, and then I'd wake up, I'd work, I'd go to the gym, and I'd hit a PR. So but that was in my 20s. So now that's not a thing at all.
Yeah.
Even 4 drinks. Whew.
Yeah.
Like it's something freaking. It's real. Yeah.
Dude, I like the feeling of it, but at the same time, there's nothing better just waking up feeling great.
There's
like not
nothing
hungover.
better than waking. And you know what? Like it comes full circle. When I was 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 20, I didn't drink very much.
Yeah.
I didn't drink very much. I would maybe have 2 drinks here and there. Sometimes I would drive, right? I would drive when I wanted to socialize and meet women, and I was 21. I would drive out to the bar. I'd have 2 drinks.
Yeah.
I would socialize and I'd drive home. I'd save money on cabs, back when I was 21, there was no Uber. Okay. I'd save money on cabs. I'd have a zero, or I'd spend $15 at the bar.
Yeah.
And then if you're driving your friends, they'll just get you a drink. So that's what I did. And I felt incredible, and it's actually very, very powerful for young men. When you are drinking a lot and you're going out and you're building your social skills, you're learning how to talk to women, right? If you're drunk, you don't learn anything. Mm-hmm. You just get drunk.
You think it's better to do it sober?
Well, it's you get drunk, just the chips fall where they may, and you come home and you don't internalize much because you were drunk. If you go out and have either nothing or just 1 or 2 drinks, you internalize everything. You learn. And also you can't just when you drink a lot, you just relax.
It's like
you
fake
kind of get
confidence.
into you just adapt to the environment more easily. You just drink, then loud people and all this stuff going on is you feel more comfortable, you feel looser, you don't feel as awkward, right? So if you don't really drink, you have 1 drink, you kind of have to turn it on. So I did a few years where I didn't really drink. I'd have maybe 1 or 2 drinks. Mm-hmm. And I honestly, I just remember sometimes you'd talk to women and they would be surprised. Holy shit, you're sober. How are you so confident? Because they think most guys have to get drink and, stuff.
Yeah.
So, but that was a long time ago. Now I've been just, I don't go out as much, but I'll have 2. Yeah. Now I'm back to that, the 2 drink thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's amazing. You know what? It's a huge, if you want to improve your life, but you're drinking a lot of alcohol, that is in direct competition with your goals. It's very, very hard to massively improve. If you're just ripping and you're having amazing momentum and you're still drinking, then, that's fine.
You think that's the number one killer, though?
If you're trying to get momentum, you're trying to get in shape, you're trying to build a business, and you're drinking, so you're trying to create this momentum you don't have, then alcohol is going to make it much harder, way harder. I mean, the simple stuff, just getting really good sleep, cutting out alcohol, right? Those two make a massive difference.
Yeah. How big are you on sleep? Because that's become such a big thing in my life, and it's made such a drastic difference with the way I feel, the way I train. I don't even use pre-workout now, basically, because I'm focused so much on getting better sleep.
Right. So, I mean, sleep is very crucial. One bad night of sleep, I don't stress about it. I'll hit the gym. I'm not going to go lighter. I'm going to do what I was there to do. So I've had workouts where I didn't have the best sleep and I still showed up, had an amazing workout. But overall, like over the course of several days and weeks, sleep is vital. I mean, there's research where if you compare sleeping 5 hours a night, right? And I had a sleep a few days ago and I slept 5 hours and you feel horrible.
Yeah.
Like you the only silver lining is that cup of coffee. It's not a good sign to wake up being like, I'm dead until I have this coffee. But I had a 5 hour sleep and I felt horrible. So there's research comparing sleeping 5 hours versus sleeping 8 hours. Your ability to gain muscle is improved 40%.
That much?
Yeah, no, it's massive, between 5 and 8 hours. So yeah, they looked at a study that people sort of lose fat, right? And the group that slept more retained 40% more muscle. So if you're cutting, if you're in a deficit, you're cutting and your sleep is very, very low, your risk of muscle loss is much higher.
Wow.
And there's like they say that sleep, like if you get very poor sleep for several days, testosterone can go down like 10, 15%. It's not true. It's way higher than that. I mean, I've done blood work where with good sleep, I'm like 840. And then if I have, 6 hours of sleep, 5-6 hours, it will go down like 200 points.
Right.
Yeah, it will go down a lot. Like sleep is 70% of the testosterone you produce is when you're asleep.
Really?
Yes. Now, most of the testosterone production happens during deep sleep.
Okay.
So deep sleep is also like, this is when you need very high quality sleep, because if you're sleeping in an environment where there's lights all around you and stuff like that, it's harder for your body to transition from light sleep to deep sleep. So the environment has to be good. Cold, quiet. Like I'll use wax, earplugs.
Do you do mouth tape yet?
No, I don't, but I think my mouth is closed, to be honest. And I've used an Oura ring a couple times and my oxygen saturation was good and stuff like that. But some people, if you're not breathing correctly, then mouth tape can be very, very helpful. But I sleep with it like at 58 degrees Fahrenheit.
58?
58, yeah. I'll sleep so good. If I'm sleeping at like 64 or 63, I'll sleep. It's a bit harder.
That is cold.
I do 50. I mean, it's some places will not go to 58. Most hotels, you're lucky if you can get it to like even like 62, 63.
I didn't know the thermostat would go down that low.
I'm
at 66. I sleep at 66.
Yeah, I can't do 66. Like 66 is, I mean, I can do it, but it's like, no, I run freaking hot. Like 50, but 58, like I'm pushing the envelope right now. I'm like seeing how low my stuff can go. And like,
do you wake up freezing?
No. I wake up and it's like cool. Like you put your hand on your computer and your computer is freaking freezing.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're like, if you wake up and you grab your computer and your computer is like, feels like it came out of the fridge. That stuff is I love it. But I mean, it's 66 technically is good. Yeah. But yeah, anything like low 60s, when your body is running hot, it cannot produce melatonin very effectively. So when your body is cool, it's much easier to produce melatonin. So, for you, it could be 66. For someone else, it could be, it could be a bit lower. But yeah.
I'm about to try lower. I don't know if my apartment will go that low, but we'll see.
I mean, try 64 or something. But 62 usually was like my temperature. But like now I'm going full. It's just hard if you have a girlfriend or you have a girl that you're staying over.
Yeah.
Like it is. It's
You
She
still,
might be, yeah. Was that?
You still doing 58, or are you gonna bump it up?
Probably maybe 59, 60. We'll bump it up a couple degrees. But no, I mean, you get all the blankets.
Yeah.
If you get enough blankets, it's fine. Humans had to like freaking sleep in much colder conditions. So you
Yeah.
have enough blankets, doesn't matter.
Yeah. So you mentioned, I didn't realize
But
how
also
big,
with the colder sleep, right?
Yeah.
You actually activate brown fat, which is very, very good. So we have a tiny subset of our fat is brown fat. Brown fat stimulates your metabolic function. It burns more calories. And so brown fat, like if you do cold exposure, can stimulate brown fat, but sleeping activates more brown fat. So it is good for your metabolic function.
Do you do cold exposure?
I don't. My sleeping is my cold exposure.
Okay.
Yeah, but the very, very acute cold exposure where you're going into an ice bath has, cool benefits, right? For dopamine, for, mood. You have to be careful with the timing of it because it can blunt, muscle growth. And it's not even like just right after your workout, even 6 hours after the workout, it's still not great for muscle growth. So you have to plan it correctly. I think that the sauna and steam is just much better for overall health. And a lot of cold exposure, too much cold exposure can incentivize being heavier, right? Because if you want to survive in a very, very cold climate and survive in very harsh temperatures,
Right.
fat is beneficial. It insulates your organs. If you go to the absolute limit, the people that do the most insane cold exposure, their body type is interesting. They have skinny extremities, arms and legs, and they have a thick layer of fat in their midsection to insulate their organs. And so that's sort of like how you want to look to handle extreme cold. So I don't believe in doing lots of cold exposure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll wake up in the morning and then I'll do sauna for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then I'll get in the cold plunge for 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
What do you think about that routine? The sauna makes me a little sleepy in the mornings.
Right.
So I don't know if that's a good or bad
Yeah, I
thing.
do the sauna more later. I think if you're doing that every day and then you're having a heavy lift, then I would just limit it. I would, 2-3 days a week. But I mean, if it just massively improves your mood and it's worth it to you, then for sure do it. And you're not doing you're not going crazy on it. But yeah, I'd say even just do like 90 seconds and then maybe on a rest day, once in a while, we can pump it up a bit.
And I've heard, I don't know if this is true or not, but the contrast.
But it is interesting though. Like when I was in Canada, right? I was in Canada a couple weeks ago, and I like to be outside. I like to go and get steps, and just my appetite living in Canadian winter is 500 calories higher at least than being here in Miami. So when it's cold out and you're living in the cold winter, you naturally want to eat more.
Really?
And you naturally also want to move less. And so the cold is not as beneficial. Like people naturally, if they spend time outside in the summer, like not if they're in an office job all the time, they barely go outside, doesn't work. But if you spend a lot of time outside in the summer, you naturally get leaner, and your appetite naturally goes down.
When you're in the sun and
Absolutely.
you're just outside, you're naturally going to get leaner.
Yeah, you're incentivized to be leaner because if you're in the hot heat for hours, then fat can make it harder. It's harder to cool down.
Cool. Well, you mentioned, I didn't know that sleep had such a big impact on test. And I know test is declining, it seems, year after year in men. So what are the key steps in order for a man to take their natural test and increase it?
Yeah, so back in like the 70s and 80s, the average man had about 700 testosterone nanograms per deciliter. Now, the average is somewhere between 400 and 500. This is the new average, and that's not for a 50-year-old, 67-year-old. That's like for like a 30-year-old, 400 to 500. So this is a huge drop. So like the main key kind of building blocks, the main key steps is obviously great sleep. You can sleep 8 hours. And again, how long you're in bed for doesn't mean you sleep. If you're in bed for 8 hours, you probably slept 7 hours because you have these micro wake ups and stuff like that. But 7 to 8 hours, 8 hours is a little bit better, obviously. Training, right? So heavy lifting is very good for producing more testosterone and increasing your average testosterone level. as well as doing lots of steps. There's research showing that if you walk less than 5,000 steps a day, your testosterone levels dip quite a bit. So you want to be like active, lots of steps, heavy lifting, but you don't want to be doing too much chronic exercise. You don't want to be in the gym for too long because then it can move you into more of a cortisol state. It can increase, stress hormones. So if you look at like what is, who are the athletes that naturally have the highest testosterone, it's going to be like weightlifters and sprinters. If you look at who are the athletes that are going to have the lowest testosterone, it's going to be like ultra marathon runners, different cyclists that do long bouts of exercise. So that actually brings your testosterone down as well. So nutrition, a balanced diet is the most important. Low carb is not good for testosterone. And also low carb diets can increase your sex hormone binding globulin, which will lower your free testosterone, what actually matters. Low fat is not optimal for testosterone. So balanced, you want to eat not super high protein. There's actually research showing that very high protein diets will lower testosterone like 30%. So anything beyond, I do 0.82 grams of protein per pound of, my body weight or target body weight. Anything beyond, like even a gram per pound, I think is too much. But even anything beyond that is working against you. Okay.
So with it decreasing year after year, what do you think that's caused from? Is it because society is just more sedentary now, or?
That's the real thing going on. If you control for, body mass index, if you control for a lot of factors, right, we're still seeing a pretty powerful drop in testosterone. And so there is an increase in microplastics in the environment. That is definitely putting the brakes on your testosterone. As well, our diets have kind of changed for the worse. So we're eating essentially more vegetable oils.
They're in everything. I mean,
yeah, they're in everything. I mean, yeah, and the vegetable oils can increase inflammation. They've been shown to lower testosterone. They can be good for, for your cholesterol levels. Your cholesterol can drop, your bad cholesterol rate can improve, but inflation markers can get worse and testosterone levels can dip. So we're eating way more vegetable oils. We're, eating a lot more grains. But even like now, like processed food, they're not even using sugar, right? It's high fructose corn syrup, which can stress the liver, right? So the liver has to process that, and high amounts of this high fructose corn syrup stresses the liver. And this can also lead to an increase in the sex hormone binding globulin. So even if you have healthy testosterone, 500, 600, you might have symptoms of very low testosterone if your sex hormone binding globulin is too high. But yeah, it's a lot of different factors. But yeah, it is harder now, right? It is absolutely harder to have very high testosterone than it used to be.
So what diet should someone aim to, or what food should someone aim to eat? With all the oils and everything, there's so much bad stuff in the environment today. So how does someone navigate to pick the right things to eat?
Well, I mean, the more powerful thing is being lean. So every inch your waist is bigger, we see a drop in testosterone. So the absolute worst thing for testosterone is to be very overweight or obese. Okay. This is also linked to your testosterone production completely shutting down. So being lean is most important. Now, as far as the foods, lean meats, fresh fruits, potatoes, eggs, stuff of this nature is going to be very, very good. But you can have your cake, eat it too. Like I will still have, some cookies. I'll fit in some chocolate. I had like some Cinnabons a few days in a row the last few weeks. So I eat like 70-80% of my calories is like, nutritious, wholesome, balanced foods. Yeah. And then 20-30% are treats that I enjoy. But if I'm getting these treats, like I will get the cookie, right, that just has natural ingredients. I'm not going to get the cookie that's made with vegetable oil. So I'll just get like a bit more of like the real kind of homemade, how your grandma would have made the cookie. Yeah. Is what I'll do, Yeah.
So you're definitely with your
I'm very flexible, and I enjoy my treats a lot. There's these cookies in Canada. We don't have them here in the U.S. They're called celebration cookies. Okay. They hit the dopamine like nothing else. There's no substitute. It's like a wafer with a chocolate layer, and it's got like a castle on it. I'll have like 6-7 celebration cookies with a glass of milk. It's my favorite thing to have at night. But we don't.
Yeah.
The U.S. is missing out on these celebration cookies. You know, you guys are sleeping on these things.
So your cheat meal or your meal at night is usually a dessert over something bad food-wise?
I'll have a dessert every single night. I don't think there's been a day in the
dessert.
last 3 years where I actually haven't had a dessert at night.
I love dessert.
Yeah,
Like, I would much rather have a dessert than a bad meal.
for sure. But I don't really have dessert at a restaurant because I like to have dessert like while putting on a movie, like an hour before bed, 2 hours before bed. So
you get
I'll
the
have
full
dessert.
experience?
I'll have dessert like 2 hours before bed. If I'm going to bed at midnight, I'll eat a dessert like 10:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta try the salty. There's one in Wynwood. It's a donut shop if you've ever been.
Oh, I gotta check it out.
Oh man, they're great.
Awesome.
But
That's what I was doing when I was in Spain. I was in Madrid, and like every day I would have I'd have like this croissant sandwich, and I have like this medium-sized donut every day. I was getting the steps in, having a big nutritious dinner, a little bit of cookies at night, and I would hit the deficit.
Yeah.
I'd get leaner, and it was easier for me to do that, right, than trying to eat like all the 'cause for my first meal, I don't like to eat a big meal. I like to just eat whatever's gonna hit the spot and just eliminate my cravings so I can
Yeah.
move on. And
Yeah.
so, in Europe, I was doing the croissant sandwich, a donut. And when I'm here, I'll do a Greek yogurt bowl. I'll mix my chocolate collagen in it. And then I'll have sliced bananas. I'll have a croissant on the side, and it's delicious.
yeah, I think a lot of people overthink the dieting thing too to lose weight. Like you said, you have a dessert every night, but you're still hitting your calorie deficit. So if someone is wanting to lose, say they're overweight and they're wanting to lose 20 pounds, what would you say to do?
So set your goal body weight. So whatever your goal body weight is, let's say this person is, let's say they are 220 pounds. They want to be 200. Times it by 13, like 2,600 calories. If you want to go a little more aggressive, you go 2,400 calories. That's what you want to hit. Mm-hmm. If you go too low in calories, it's harder to maintain muscle and keep your testosterone levels high. So I like 12 to 13. And then eat the same thing every day.
Yeah,
That's
the easiest way.
It is very hard to lose weight and be eating different things all the time. And it takes so much willpower, and then you gotta scan this label, you gotta put it into your MyFitness. I will not use MyFitnessPal.
You eyeball everything?
Well, I used to use all those tracking apps when I was like, from like 20 to 23, and it made it harder for me to stick to my diet. I do not use any tracking apps. I just essentially eat the same thing every day.
Yeah.
And if I'm traveling and I can't find the calories, then I'll kind of just find a little cool cafe to eat my first meal. And if it hits the spot and I feel good, I'll just go to that same cafe every single day while I'm in wherever it is, Madrid. And then for dinner, I'll just go out to a restaurant, and when I'm locked in, and I'll just get the same thing at any restaurant. I'll get like the steak, right? I'll have a portion of potatoes, or I'll just have like some bread, steak bread, maybe a little veggie. But sometimes I won't have vegetables because restaurants tend to make them 500 calories, right? So you're getting the broccoli. You think, oh, I'm being healthy, I'm getting the broccoli. No, it's the 500 calorie oil-ridden broccoli. So I'll just eat the same thing every day, and then I'll my dessert at night, same thing. I haven't been able to lose weight very easily mixing it up all the time. The only way I've been able to consistently get very, very lean is when I just lock in. I eat like the same thing every day. Yeah. It sounds boring, but I'm still eating steak and potatoes and cookies and fresh fruits and these delicious yogurt bowls and Rice Krispies. So I'm just eating the most satisfying thing, and then I think once or twice a month, I'll have like a pizza for dinner.
Yeah.
And I'll deliberately go lower protein that day. So I'm like very flexible. But the most important thing, if you want to get lean, is you're hitting your calories.
Right.
And my lens on fat loss is very different from pretty much everyone else I followed. And I wanted to follow different people's diets and diet protocols, and I tried to in my early 20s, and I couldn't stick to any of them. They were miserable. And so the lens I use for fat loss is what's the most enjoyable way to stay in this deficit. If I know that I need to be doing 2,300 calories to get lean, what's the most enjoyable way to hit my 2,300 calories? And I just do that.
Yeah, that's a smart way to look at it. And yeah, that's cool. I kind of look at it the same way as like, as long as I'm hitting my calorie deficit, I'm taking, 80% whole, clean ingredients in, then, I can have that cookie or donut here and there as long as I hit my calories. So cool, man. And along your YouTube journey, when did you realize that you could actually turn this into a business and monetize it?
So I probably when I was like 18, when I was in university, I was kind of researching sort of what I was going to do and building a fitness business. And around 18, more so 19, I realized that if I could get attention, if I could create educational content, not just get attention, but create helpful content and create enough goodwill that I could either, find a product I love and be an affiliate for it and make money that way, or I could potentially create my own product, right? And so
Was there very many products when you started, though, to be affiliate for?
There actually, you know what? There was like this whole sort of fitness culture scene where people had ebooks and stuff like that, and I didn't understand it, right? So like I'd see it and I didn't really know, like, are people buying this? Are people buying this? And then I kind of was asking one person that had ebooks, and I was kind of asking him. So like we got into it, and it turned out he was doing very, very well. And it was like, holy shit, you can make like a incredible income with if you can build an authoritative site and have a lot of education and you create an awesome product, you can make literally as much money as you want. And so it became clear to me that, okay, so I need to build very helpful content and build an asset. I mean, it's like my father was into real estate, and he would acquire and buy apartment buildings. And so like a website is your own sort of real estate. Mm-hmm. You can build a website and create traction and get eyeballs to it, and that can be very valuable.
Awesome. So did you start out with coaching people, or how did your first business work?
I first was an affiliate for a program that I was following at the time. So I made affiliate sales. And then a lot of people were asking me, hey, I've been following your free workouts and your articles. When are you going to create your own program? And then I was like, oh shit, people want me to create my own program. Mm-hmm. And so I did that. And then I opened up coaching, where some of like my people that followed my site, I opened up coaching, and I would create their plans and do a consultation call with them. And, it was interesting because like, the coaching wasn't massively different than my programs, right? I would just spoon feed it for them. I would just tell them exactly what to do, X, Y, and Z. I'd answer all their questions. But like what the coaching is like I think I had a client, and he bought my program, and then we did the call, and I was on the call with him, and I just told him exactly, like I just ran him through the consult, and it's like, holy shit, like I was skeptical, right? But once we did this call and you explained how everything worked, like absolutely, yep, you do this, boom, like then he was like, I had so much self-belief, right? So like there's that power in when you invest a bit deeper and you create stronger trust in someone, like there's the results can just 10x. But I did coaching, and I did coaching, over the years here and there with a small number of clientele. It is fun to have that sort of one-on-one connection.
Yeah. So when did Kino Body get established? When I started following you, you were doing like the movie star stuff, and those are the videos that I was watching a lot. So did you kind of start out with the movie star stuff, and then it transitioned into Kino Body?
I started out with like the Kino Body, the Greek God, Warrior Shred, Aggressive Fat Loss, and then around 2020, I created the movie star, right? And I, at the time, I had some business partners, and it wasn't working out, so we were going separate ways, and I didn't have any income. I wasn't making any money. I didn't have control of the company. And so I was like, okay, it's time to restart. And so I created the movie star body thing, and it was actually pretty wild because I created this whole system, right? And filmed all the videos and got it all built out. And then the pandemic hit, and then gyms were closed, and I was like, oh shit. Well, who's going to buy this when they can't even go to the gym? And then I kind of pivoted, and I built out like a whole bodyweight system, and I had like a bodyweight only and the whole package, and I had like one of our best launches ever.
Were you filming at your house? Do you still have that house?
Yep.
I would always see it. Yeah.
Yep. I filmed sort of like, at the house.
Gotcha. So did it start taking off during COVID? Was that like a big momentum shift?
Way earlier. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
When I was like 19, it was like a hobby. 20, it started to like get a little more momentum. Mm-hmm. By 21, it was like my full-time thing. Like this was a full-time income, and I did very well. And then 21, the business like 2.5x, and then, grew. And then by 24, it was like insane.
Really?
Yeah, it was insane. I mean, my goal, like when I was in Mexico with a girlfriend at the time, I was 23, and I was writing down all my goals. And, one of them was like, I was going to make $1 million by 25, like be on pace for $1 million a year profit. And I remember I had this woman who was sort of like a bit of a mentor, and she asked me what goals were, and I said that, and she said, "You said you're out of your mind."
Right.
She was in the fitness space too. She's like, "You're nuts." She's like, "You should aim a little bit lower." And
Did that fire you up?
no, I honestly didn't care. Like some people if they get like some shit talkers and stuff, they get all amped up. I just don't care.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Like I'm not gonna dedicate like hours and hours and years of my life in spite of someone. I'm gonna do it because I want to.
Yeah.
But she said that, and it didn't upset me. I just was like, okay. And then I actually achieved that goal that I wanted to accomplish at 25. I achieved it a year earlier, 24. There's a power to writing, not on your phone, but pen to paper.
I agree.
Writing pen to paper, go do it in a completely new environment. If you're in your house you got to go somewhere new. I actually went to, like, this is an extreme example, but I went to Mexico and I was on the beach and I had this notebook I bought, and when I felt, you can feel it. When you just feel in alignment with the universe, you just feel so present, so at ease, you feel incredible, you free, your mind isn't trapped, right? You just feel like anything's possible. That's the state you want to be in. And then then you connect to what your real goals are. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to write a goal down that you think you want. It's much more powerful to like take your time and write down a goal that like hits. Right. Feel it. Fuck, that's what I want. That's what I want to accomplish. And it can be like a, financial goal and stuff like that. But you want to also have goals that are more dynamic. It's not just a number, right? It's like, it's you doing something and you impacting people and you working with a team or stuff like that. You want to make it 3D, not one dimensional. And so everyone, if you have goals, go somewhere, even if you have to go to a park, 30 minutes away. And it works best when you're outside in the sun.
Do you still write goals down?
Yeah, of course. It works best when you're outside in the sun, new environment, and drinking a coffee.
Okay.
Coffee gets the dopamine level, the dopamine firing and stuff. So do that. Write down powerful goals that inspire you and goals that are within your highest values. So the biggest mistake people make is setting the wrong goals. Yeah. You gotta set goals that you want.
What are the goals that someone needs to set? If they sit down and start writing goals out, what are the type of goals?
Absolutely. Everyone should have a health goal, right? So it's like, health, wealth, love, happiness. Everyone should have a health goal, right? And then as far as like your wealth goal or, your business career, that's very dependent on what you want to do. I can't, tell anyone. But you might have a goal around social life, around a relationship, around the kind of partner you want to attract, right? Mm-hmm. I used to do that sometimes when I was single for a while. I wasn't meeting anyone that I really connected with deeply. I would just write down, this is the kind of girlfriend I want. Yeah. But I wouldn't write it down as like what I want, like as if it's already here. Mm-hmm. Like this is like, I'll just write it in present tense. This is the girlfriend I want, whatever. I'd get very, very specific, and it would be like, what the hell? Like within 2 weeks, this woman would appear that checked off every box. I'm like, how is this possible? I've done it 3 times. You gotta be careful though, because oh shit, I forgot to write down. I forgot a couple points I should have added later. Yeah. So you gotta be like, it's like that movie with the actor. He did The Whale. Ben something. He was the mummy guy. I think it's Ben or something like that. 6'5" guy. He was the mummy star, and he did some horrible movie called Bewitched. And he's just setting he has some wish and he can grant everything, but then he forgets to add certain things, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that powerful. Write down, right? If you're looking for a partner, you just haven't been meeting that person, then write down exactly what you want. But then also don't just write what you want, right? And what kind of person you want, but also what am I going to bring to the table in this relationship? How am I going to provide? What is going to make, what is my offer, right? Because that's what relationships are. You have to bring something to the table. So write out what you're bringing to the table.
Cool, man. Yeah, that's good insight. So this is kind of an interesting question. If you were to lose everything and you had to start from ground zero, but you still had your knowledge, what would you do differently nowadays to build up?
I mean, honestly, if I had to start from scratch, dude, I would do something different because, yeah, I would definitely do something different.
You wouldn't be in the fitness space?
I'd have to do something new, man. I'd have to do something new.
What do you think you would do?
I don't know. I'm not too sure, but I'd want to challenge myself and do something different. But if I was to go back in time and stuff, what would I mean, you just have to, the first things first, you have to put out something that you want to see that's not already out there. That was why I really started my business. It was I loved fitness, but no one had a program, a philosophy that spoke to me. Not one person. I wanted someone. Why hasn't someone created a brand and a program that would teach you how to look like a movie star? I don't want to look like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
I'm not training to to go into the NFL. I'm not a professional athlete, so I don't need to be doing that, right? So why hasn't someone created a system to look like a movie star, not have to eat out of Tupperware 6 times a day and have these little boxes, pulling out boxes of broccoli and meat? It's not that's not a lifestyle,
No,
right?
it's not fun.
I was come on. So actually create a system that's enjoyable, a beautiful lifestyle, right? The James Bond lifestyle. And also kind of taught you how to get strong, right? How do you get freaking strong? You're doing weighted pull-ups. You don't just have a look. I cared about being strong. I had a martial art sort of background. I want to be powerful. And so no one really created a system that did all three. Look like a movie star, enjoy life, and be powerful. And that's kind of what I did. And all I saw was people obsessing about their diets, eating 6 meals a day, cutting out carbs, doing extreme things. It was either no carbs or going low fat or, we're doing all this extremism that you can't sustain.
Yeah.
It's like a rubber band, right? It snaps. And all these complicated workouts, all these different exercises, no one was freaking hitting PRs. So I was just like, no, we got to hit PRs. We got to eat freaking steak, potatoes, and chocolate, right? And we got to look like a movie star.
Yeah.
And so I just created what I wanted. So right now, I wouldn't start a business unless I saw something that I wanted that wasn't already out there. I would have to really be like, what do I want to see that's not already being met? And obviously, as time passes, more and more of these holes get filled. So you have to be a little more creative. You have to be a little more niche, right? Now it's the nichier you can be, the more money you can make, especially online. So you want to go hyper niche. You want to solve a very specific problem. So if I was going to restart, I'd probably get very, very niche. And everything I sell, solve the problem for myself. I created my different workout systems, my fat loss system, because I wanted to get chiseled. I wanted to look like, Brad Pitt in Troy or Christian Bale in American Psycho, but I had a hard time cutting, right? And so I created a whole system that took time. I created it for myself. I shared it. People, a lot of things that you want, right? Other people want. And so even the supplements, I wanted a pre-workout that didn't have 300 milligrams of caffeine and artificial ingredients and sucralose, that didn't have beta alanine, so I wasn't going to freaking itch my face off, and had the right dose of L-citrulline and L-theanine. And so I created that, right? And it happens that people love it.
Yeah.
I had pretty good free testosterone. I think around 30, the sex drive can dip, right? And so but I just became really like, I was like, I want to optimize it.
Yeah.
Why be at 600 when I can be at 800, right? Also, like, life is fun when you have a high libido. It's fun. Like, so if you have a desire to have sex every day, that's fun. If you only have a desire to have sex once a week, it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
So it's like, to max out your testosterone naturally and to have a high libido is very, very cool. And the idea that we're getting robbed of our testosterone, our libido, our energy through the modern lifestyle, and these unavoidable, because a lot of these microplastics, a lot of these hormone disruptors are unavoidable, is kind of sad, right? So it's like, we need to give ourselves the absolute best liftoff. I want to feel like how I was meant to feel, right? I don't want to have to settle. And so optimizing your testosterone is really good.
Yeah.
It directly improves your quality of life.
Yeah.
If you're going through life at 33 years old and your testosterone is 500, life would be better if you were at 650.
Right. Yeah, and concluding here, I wanted to ask one more question about tests. So with the test levels dropping, if a man gets a score and he's 400 or 500, you think he can naturally raise that instead of just instantly hopping on TRT?
Absolutely. It is. You can raise it way more than you think. I mean, me, for example, right? In my 20s, 23, I did a testosterone test at 640. 24, I was at 660. I was at 600, right? So I was always in the 600s. I did one test when I was 30, and I was 515. It was very, very low. But that was also because I had very bad sleep, right? So I had a bad sleep. So sleeping is like 20% drop easy, at least for me, right? Now, 33, and like a normal day, I'm 840, right? So it's way higher. And all the nutrition, training stuff, I was doing it in the 20s anyway. So if you take the right supplements, you can get a 200-point increase. So stuff like zinc, magnesium, boron, Tongkat is probably the most powerful, and it also increases dopamine, right? So libido isn't just testosterone. A lot of libido is actually dopamine firing correctly. And then forskolite, D3, vitamin D3, the sun, and K2 is also powerful. So if you take the right supplement concoction, you can get that 200-point increase. And that's what we've seen. You know, it's not just the total, it's the free that's also very important. But if someone's doing everything wrong, they're a little bit overweight, they're not sleeping great, they're not lifting weights consistently, they're not watching their diet, then you can literally double your testosterone if you get the steps right and you get the right supplements. You can double it, right? I increased mine 600, right, to over 800, and that's from early 20s to early 30s, right? If I would have been doing all the wrong, like not getting sleep, not good nutrition, right, not training in my early 20s, I've probably been quite a bit lower. So some people out there can double it. We've seen people double their testosterone, but realistically, a 20% increase is absolutely attainable with just supplementation. If you do the right steps too, it could be 30-40% increase.
Wow. Well, Greg, I appreciate you coming on today. Where can the people find you? And if they are looking to make a transformation, can they join Kinobody, and where do they do that?
Yes, I'm active daily on Instagram at Gallagher, and then my main hub is kinobody.com. That's where I got all links to everything, different programs and supplements and stuff like that. And really the last point is like literally people can optimize their testosterone like crazy, unless you just got punched in the balls by a kangaroo and your testicles are done. You can improve.
There's a chance.
Yeah, you can improve. I've heard that. I heard of a guy who got kicked from a donkey in his nuts, and it's not much. Like, I've gotten hit hard, but I've been okay. But like a donkey, like a donkey kick is not as recoverable. Or if you have multiple traumatic concussions, then you can have your testosterone shut down, right? So a lot of professional athletes can have serious hormonal issues, and it's from all that impact.
Yeah. And then they can find you on YouTube, of course, too.
Yes, exactly.
Cool.
Exactly. And YouTube, Kinobody. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, my man.
Yeah, man. It was nice to meet you as well.
Blast to be here.